Heidi Levine is covering the war for the Washington Post. Her award-winning photography capturing wars and revolution goes back 40 years nearly. She joined me earlier from Kyiv. Heidi, thanks for joining us. I really so admire your work. Your photographs are so human. I mean, seeing that man being carried on the back of somebody else and the look in his face. I mean, you can imagine that man, the woman in the wheelbarrow being, being your grandfather, being your father. They're just.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, people always ask me, what is like, how do you do this kind of work? How do you deal with what you see? And that night, I mean, I literally like woke in at 3 o'clock in the morning with a nightmare. And I mean, I could not help but to imagine, like, when I was filing my pictures, besides documenting and witnessing what I'm witnessing in the moment, then coming back and then looking at all these images again and editing and writing captions. And it's just like, it really hit me like beyond description because I can't. I mean, all I want to write in my caption is like, what if this was your grandmother? I mean, how would you feel? I mean, how do these people cope?
Mm.
I mean, I want my audience to try to connect to my work and imagine like, what if you just had an hour or even less to try to like pack up what you can carry, including your children, your grandparents, or any other family members, and like they don't even have time to even pack their photo albums. Can you imagine just like fleeing and leaving your whole family history behind, never knowing that you may not even be able to return to your own home? I mean,
No.
that's what I want the audience to understand. I mean, this could be them. This could be me. The camera lens doesn't stop me from feeling because I'm on the other side of the camera. I mean, I cannot prevent myself from, even crying in the moment or hugging people or, you know, stopping to photograph to help people. And I have to say that so many of my colleagues are doing that.
You also took pictures of a guy named Alex, who this was extraordinary to me. He's volunteering. He's volunteering in a morgue in his community. He's not an experienced. I mean, this is not what he does for a living. He is volunteering.
This is someone I met earlier today and outside the morgue, and you looked at him and you could just, I mean, you can smell death there. You can see death just by what he's wearing, the expression on his face. This is not his job. He's volunteering. He's actually a marketing manager in his real life. And he's
Mm.
told me that, no, I mean, his quote, I mean, I can quote him as saying, like, nobody can handle doing what I'm doing for more than 2 or 3 days because it's just too horrific. Quote unquote, I've already seen more than 10 bodies today, and the day is not even over.
Yeah. You also document the new life. You took photographs of an expectant mother in the hallway of an underground
Yeah.
makeshift maternity ward there in Kyiv. I mean, to know what it's like to be in a hospital, with somebody about to give birth. I mean, in these conditions, it's just I just find that photograph extraordinary.
Well, thank you. First of all, I mean, these mothers or even the women that have already given birth that I met are frightened. They don't know where they're going, if they're going to have a home to go back to once they give birth or their newborns are released from the hospital. One mother said to me, I was dreaming that when I gave birth, my whole family would be with me with flowers and candy. And here, look at me. And she was just crying. And I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, I'm a mother of 3 children. I know what it's like to give birth. And it is really scary in normal life, let alone under these horrific conditions.
So some of the photographs obviously are extremely hard to look at, but so I think important because it is the reality of what's happening here. Um,
Look, war is horrible. It's horrific. And is you can't sugarcoat it. It is terrible, and it's I can't imagine. any family on either side of this conflict not suffering in some way. I don't know what the situation is for these mothers in Russia that know that their sons have been killed. Do they know? Will they know? Will their bodies ever be returned? I mean, these are all, really important questions. But the bottom line is a lot of people are dying, a lot of people suffering. All of the attacks that I have covered so far during this war have been on civilians. And it's really important for the world to know the extent and the impact on civilian life here in Ukraine.
Yeah. Heidi, I can't imagine how difficult it is every day, but your work matters, and I appreciate you talking to us about it.
Well, thank you very much. And I really would like to also express my condolences to everyone who has lost someone or lost their home, and also to the families of my colleagues who were tragically killed here in Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, Heidi Levine, thank you. Be careful.
Well, thank you very much.